My point of view on this subject is, I suspect, going to be completely different from anything that you've ever heard before, because it's completely different from anything that I have ever heard before. You see, on the one hand, I fully support the idea of gay marriage, 100%. But then again, why shouldn't I? I mean, after all, isn't it kind of obvious, really? To any of you who know me in real life or have followed me for any amount of time on either of my two channels, the fact is that I really do embrace styles of music as well as fashion and many other forms of expression that take a very sympathetic to even a supportive view of alternative orientations. So it should come as no surprise to anybody that I would also be very supportive as well. Yet at the same time, I find it very uncomfortable the way this cause is being advanced right now. I find it to be very forceful. I find it to be very heavy-handed and, quite frankly, very disrespectful. Like this clip here with Perez Hilton, and he had Carrie up there on the stage, and I promise you that he was absolutely sure that he was about to use the new Miss California to further his own cause. He had already banked that she was going to agree with him 100%. And instead, she completely went the other way, and he just deflated. I still, even now, I can't get enough of that. And by the way, good for Carrie for speaking her mind in that moment. And if I could have just been her, and not that she needed any help from me, she did fine, but if I could have been her for just that one moment, I would have said to Perez basically everything I just said just now. Yeah, Perez, I like the idea, but when my own state, the state of California, widely considered one of the most liberal in the country, when they vote Proposition 8 in, and that vote is given its due process, it's campaigned on both sides, and the people make their voice heard, and then after that whole thing's run its course, after the fact, the will of the people is completely thrown out the window by the stroke of a pen from one justice on the state of California Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I find that to be unacceptable. That's the kind of heavy-handedness that I'm talking about. Exhibit B is also same deal. Have you noticed in this political season how every single candidate on the Republican ticket is asked for their position on gay marriage, either by Pierce Morgan or by whoever, as if they're supposed to explain why they're opposed to it, when the fact of the matter is that most of the people across America right now still are opposed to it. Not all of them. And here's the thing, public opinion is changing on this. It's not unanimous. I mean, let's face it, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this discussion wasn't even on the table. And in the last 3 years, I think 6 or 7 states have sanctioned gay marriage. I think one of those states that sanctioned it is Iowa. How weird is that? The state of Iowa, of all states in the country, has sanctioned gay marriage, and California hasn't. That right there is more ironic than anything I could have ever even made up. But my point here is that public opinion is changing on this minute by minute all on its own. It doesn't need the sort of crammed down force, heavy-handed force like we're seeing from Perez Hilton or Pierce Morgan or really anybody else for that matter. And I would suggest to you that it is that kind of heavy-handed approach that in a very strange way is actually doing more harm than good. Because if you're one of those passionate gay marriage activists out there, I have to tell you, you're annoying more people than you're winning over. Whereas if you would just shut up, back off, and let public opinion evolve on its own natural course, I promise you, in 20 years, you're going to have gay marriage in every state across the country, and nobody's going to even blink. I promise you that that will be the case. By the way, if you're a real strong supporter of gay marriage, you probably also are a very strong supporter of President Obama. I'm just putting that out there. So if I could just very gently remind you that your own guy, President Obama, also stands squarely opposed to gay marriage. What do you think about that? All right, how's that working for you? The thing is, the very thing that leads me to be supportive of alternative orientations is freedom of expression. All right, and I feel like a person's orientation is so fundamentally at the core of who they are that they deserve the freedom of expression to be the person that they already are and not have to worry about it. But that's the same rationale that also leads me to say that anybody whose personal belief systems would go against gay marriage also deserve the freedom of expression to be the people they already are. And then let the debate go on. Let it run its course. I think you can be, I personally support gay marriage, but I think you can be a reasonable person who either supports or opposes it. Let the debate play out. And again, it's kind of a moot point anyway, because in 20 years it is going to be the norm across the country. But in the meantime, I think there's a nice middle ground that we can all come together on. If you're gay and you want to get married, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Don't live in a state that supports it, then fine. Either move to a state that does or get a civil union. If you're straight and you oppose gay marriage, then here's an idea. Shut up and just don't get one. How's that work for you? I don't know. Seems like a pretty good common sense approach to me. I want to thank y'all for watching, and look forward to seeing everybody next time. Till then, Steve out.